How can you not prepare for something that's this important and this inevitable in every woman's life? So if your period stopped before the age of 40, you have premature ovarian insufficiency.
Luke, I think I've manifested my horrible menopause. And my first question is like, why do you call it horrible? Isn't it a natural process? I mean, I was speaking to a Japanese doctor and she told me that in our culture, menopause is a gift that comes to women because it's moving them psychologically and spiritually and of course hormonally to a new dimension of their life. And then she added that we don't care about what people think anymore.
Correct.
It's like you get that power. And she said,
That's
but
right.
the whole world is resisting it, fighting it. And, I mean, we all know, like what we keep saying we don't want always comes back to us.
True.
And then when I started moving out into society and seeing most women who are 35, 38 are talking about menopause like it's a disease. I hope I don't get hot flushes. Oh no, I'll never be able to have sex again. Oh no, this is going to happen. And they just speak the negatives about it. And I asked them one question. If menopause was that bad, do all women go through it? Okay. And the answer is no. All don't go through bad menopause. Everyone goes through it.
Correct.
So then what's the difference between these two categories of people? I would love for you to talk from your experience. Yeah. How should we look at menopause? How should we prepare for it? Of course, we know there's great science and medicine today that can make it better when there are complications. And then there's, of course, the whole attitude, lifestyle, the way we're living today that can also contribute towards a healthy menopause.
Menopause is an event. For people to understand, it's something that's used very casually. Menopause is an event. It's the last menstrual period in a woman's life, followed by 12 months of no periods, and then we say you're menopausal. Traditionally, we called it climacteric, this whole process, but we kind of accepted the term perimenopause. Mm-hmm. And I think for women, it's much better to look at their whole journey as a perimenopause, the time before, during, and after menopause, which spans about 8 years, about 6 years before and 2 to 4 years after, when changes are happening. You're right, everyone does it differently, everyone does it individually. I hear all the time women saying, but our mothers and grandmothers did it so well. I would kind of say yes and no. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I feel because they didn't know better. Sometimes women have been conditioned to accept quietly and be told that this is what happens. So this is something that is increasingly being spoken about now, maybe not enough. Mm-hmm. And even today, when we do interact with women, we find a lot of women are still not exactly clear about what's going to happen. This is something that will happen to all women. Mm-hmm. 50% of the world's population is going to change. We now call it the midlife because she's going to spend maybe 40% and in future even half a life after. Yeah. Many of them will just sail through most of it with minor discomfort, but many of them won't. The varied estimates, India, overseas, which says that about 50 or 60% will have significant symptoms, not all of which require treatment. And about 10 to 15% they can be quite significant, and in 5% they will be distressing. This disrupts your life. This also comes at a time in your life like that Japanese woman shared with you, when a lot of change happens also because of where you are. So there are the hormones, but there is also your time in life, your place in life, your achievements in life, what's happening to your immediate surroundings, your family, which impacts you. And I think the important thing is to recognize it for yourself, understand and learn what implications there are going to be. Many of them will just be explained and it'll be okay, that's it. Yeah. And some of them definitely need help. And the help for me will always start off with lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Always start off with her looking after her health and nutrition, with a backup of medical care as and when required. And you did rightly mention there are advances very often misunderstood, unfortunately very often demonized, which are really there to benefit women when they require it. What about this woman in her 30s who's talking about it? Well, basically, maybe there we need to tell women and men, but more so women. German Greer once said something quite interesting. She said, women are so interesting. Their lives go on changing. Men, poor, boring things go on in their same groove all their lives. Women have dramatic shifts in hormones. And when these dramatic shifts happen, if they are prepared for them, they do it better. So maybe when she is in her 30s, she needs to prepare for her 40s, because her 30s define her 40s and her 40s define her 50s.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from my co-author. And without fear, with more understanding. I think sometimes fear comes from ignorance, not knowing and not understanding enough. And you're so right. Today, the information overload that people have sometimes only ends up confusing them more. But if you have clarity which says, there's going to be a change in your lives, you are going to change hormonally and other ways. These are things you can do to prepare for it. This is how you can make your bones better, your heart better. This is how you can make sure that you handle your weight by preparing for it earlier on. And then as and when time comes, don't be afraid of it. There's enough to take care of you. Don't be ashamed of it. Women are actually ashamed to talk about the fact that they are menopausal. They are embarrassed when they are sitting in a room full of people and having a hot flush and they are trying to hide it. And they don't need to do that. They are embarrassed by the emotional changes they're going through at that time, and they don't need to.
Doctor, over the last couple of years, you've seen menopause kind of change with women. What are some of the tips that you would give our audience?
Exercise. There is no one exercise for everyone.
True.
But there are certain things that all human beings and women should be doing. So if I had someone who is perimenopausal or even before, but particularly if she's perimenopausal, I would say, do it in your way, on your time. But there would have to be some kind of aerobic exercise, because you're going to very soon start struggling with your weight because of what your hormones are going to do. There has to be some degree of flexibility. So you take your pick, whether it's yoga or Pilates. I am a big believer in what is there for us, yoga. It's so great. I mean, it's we who gave it to the world. Why aren't we using it more? There has to be some strength training, because you build bone till the age of 40 and then spend the rest of your life losing it. So put on as much as possible into your bones, so you're better off with your osteopenia and osteoporosis. And finally, something which is completely neglected, the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is something that we human beings have struggled with, because we are the only animals which are bipeds. So here is gravity pulling all your internal organs down. Here is this massive muscle which is hidden from everything else. Here is the difference between women and men, where the space that the vagina creates is a space that can completely create a problem for, and then there's childbirth. So if you don't attend to your pelvic floor, you're going to start having your urinary symptoms and your prolapse and vaginal symptoms later on. So if you did this, you would probably start off well. Endocrine disruptors. It's all out there. It's there in the environment. We aren't even really aware it's there. We kind of just live our lives thinking, oh my God, this is what we have to do. But the byproducts of industry, particularly the plastic industry, act like estrogens. We know today that endocrine disruptors are there in your kitchen, they are there in your cosmetics, they are there in your life, and you have a responsibility to understand them. I'm not against any particular industry, but maybe you could just minimize our use of plastics in our life. Maybe we minimize the use of the non-stick cookware in our lives. Maybe we kind of read about it, read about healthy habits when it came to protecting your families. Get those plastic bottles out of your refrigerator and put back the glass. And I think these are responsibilities that we have and people can have when it comes to moving to the next phase well. The next thing I would say is, when you are prepared with what to anticipate, you are going to have menstrual disturbances. And it's okay not to have a period every month. It's okay to have a period early by a week or 10 days. But if it's disruptive and more than that, we can do something about it. The symptoms of menopause flushes, a lot of women just cope with them by dressing smart, by controlling the environment, by increasing their fluid intake. But if you need medical care, by all means, what you can do with your diet to make things better. There's a lot of good stuff you can eat which can modulate your hormones, or hormone therapy, which is absolutely indicated when a woman is suffering. She doesn't have to go through the next 2 years miserable. The dryness, the hypoestrogenism, the low levels of estrogen, recognize it. Don't be afraid of it. Deal with it. That's where, again, nutrition comes in. That's where the help of hair care and skin care comes in. And then, of course, again, you've got medication. So she has to prepare herself physically, mentally, emotionally. She has to, and finally, I would also say, and she has to be willing to demand help. I won't just say ask for help, demand help and support. And I'm not just saying this from the people, the professionals in her life. I'm also saying this has to come from a partner and from a family. When it comes to the perimenopause, it's something that hormones are also doing to you. You may want to sleep. You may have all the right signals you give yourself, but your body won't let you. So if you're someone who's gotten to the vasomotor symptoms, the hot flushes and flashes, but the night sweats that happen at night when you're there, and it's almost hilarious when I have this couple sitting before me and she's complaining that she's hot all night and he's complaining that he's freezing because of what she sets the temperature at. And so that's a reality, and that's something that must be addressed. And for me, if there's one dramatic indication for menopause hormone therapy, which is what we call hormone replacement therapy now, it's these kind of disturbances, which are magically taken care of with medication and safe medication. Hormones scare people, but hormones shouldn't scare people when they